Ready for lesson 2? Great. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use the Divi Builder. This is the Divi Builder that was introduced in 2019. So you will learn how to edit on the screen on your site, how to add text, how to bold it, how to insert a link, and how to create a bullet list. We're also going to learn in what I call the cogwheel edit settings, how to do the same things. And then we'll learn how to save our work. And here we are at the WordPress dashboard, which we had a look at in our last lesson. On the left side menu bar, you can see there are posts, media, pages, and a number of other things as we go further down. But in this lesson, we're going to go to pages. And it doesn't matter whether you click on pages or all pages, both of them get you to the same area, which is a list of the pages that appear on your website. Now, each website is going to have different pages. You'll nearly always have one that says front page. That will be your home page, and it might be called home. Here I've called it DIY Digital. We're going to use Divi Demonstration as the page for this lesson, and as we hover over the pages, we can see the sub-menus coming up. The sub-menu Edit, Quick Edit, Trash, View, and Edit with Divi. I'm going to go to Edit to do this demonstration, so I click on Edit. And now click on the purple button, Edit with the Divi Builder. And here we see our page comes up looking a lot like what we can see what it looks like on the website itself. We have this very thin black menu bar at the top. That tells us that we're logged into WordPress. And then we have a few other little coloured things around the place that people that visit the website without being logged in wouldn't see, but we can see them. We can see this small purple circle with a plus sign. We can see a small purple circle with 3 dots in it. And we can see this green small floating menu bar. I'm just going to talk a little bit about this small green floating menu bar. It's bright green, and that's reasonably significant. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and now as I hover over this area, I see some more bright green small floating menu bars come up. They come up at various places depending on where I click in this bottom or footer area. Now the bright green is significant because it indicates in Divi, it's color coded in Divi to mean that this is a global part of the website. In other words, if you change stuff here, you'll change it for every other page on the website. And this is a global setting, and it's pretty usual for most websites to have a global footer and a global header. So the information at the bottom of your page often appears on the bottom of every page of your website, and the stuff at the top of your website often appears at the top of every page on your website, your header. As much as possible, you want to stay out of this zone. You do not want to edit this, and especially not as a beginner. Often quite a bit of work has gone into your website to make your header and footer the spacing work, and often if you muck around with it, you muck around with the spacing at your peril. So try to steer clear of the bright greens, at least in the beginning of your editing journey. Now let's scroll down to another part of the website where I can demonstrate something else for you. So I'm going to go to this section here, and this is what we're going to use to demonstrate how to add text and do other things with text. And you can see as I hover over it, there's this blue square. then there's this green square, and then there's this grey square. And as I hover and click in this section, you can see these three floating menu bars appear. There's this blue one, which represents a section. There's this lighter green or teal green one that represents a row. And there's a grey one which represents a module. And all of them have very similar icons in them. There's this four-pronged arrow. There's the settings icon. Sometimes I like to call that the cogwheel. There's the duplicate icon. There's the save the library icon. There's a rubbish bin. And then there's this cross. Now all that the cross does is exit you out. But as soon as you click again, it comes back up. So the cross you can't go too wrong with. But the rubbish bin, you can. So that will delete the module. So now if I press Control Z or Command Z to undo, that comes back again. Now the undo will only work if you do it straight away. So if you accidentally press this rubbish bin, Control Z or Command Z is your friend. The others I'm not going to worry about for this lesson, but we are going to go to this text settings module a bit later on. So to add text, we just click in to where we want to add the text. And you can see there we've got a blinking cursor. And we know that when we've got the blinking cursor, we can add the text. So that's what you're looking for, and put your text where you do want to add the text. So we're going to just add a little bit of extra text into this area. And there we have it. We have added some text. So that's pretty simple, isn't it? Now what I want to do is bold the date, just to make that appear a little bit more prominent. So I'm going to bold it. I want to highlight it. So I click in there, drag my mouse across. Looks like I've accidentally highlighted two things there. So I'm going to click out and just give it another try, because it looked to me like I'd highlighted that heading. And now you see there's this small floating text menu bar that comes up. It has bold, has italic, it has underline. These things you'll be familiar with if you've edited in Microsoft Word or something like that, which I dare say you have. We've got a line, we've got a few other things there, but I wanted to bold so my hand becomes a white hand as I hover near the bold. So if I press that, that's now going to bold that text. Now let's have a look at how we might do bullet points. So let's say I want to change this paragraph here into 3 bullet points. So again, I'll put my cursor in. I'll look for that blinking cursor, and when I know that it's blinking, I know that I can actively do things with the text. So I'm going to delete to get rid of the space, then press Return or Enter to create a new line. I'll now move my cursor over to here where I want to delete that back, and then press Enter or Return to create another new line. And then I'm going to make this one the practical tips of bullet point as well. So it will cover the text here. It will cover how to write product pages, and then to make sense of this, I'm actually going to take out the words you'll learn. I might get rid of my full stop, and it will cover also, to make sense of this, I'll get rid of will share. So I'm going to highlighted that, and I've just pressed the delete key on my keyboard, and then I'm going to move over to the end of the sentence and press my delete key to get rid of that full stop. So in preparation to do my bullet points, I've just tweaked the text so I've got 3 lines that kind of make sense. Now that I've got those 3 lines on new lines that make sense, I'm going to, oops, see there it has accidentally highlighted more than what I wanted, so I have to start again and I just want to highlight the 3 lines that I want to make a bulleted list. And again, we get this contextual menu bar come up, this text bar come up, and you can see where I can do the bullet list is at the right hand side here. So if I click on that, I now get another few more choices. I could make it a numbered list, 1, 2, 3 if I wanted to, but I just want to make it bullets, so I'm going to click on the bullets. And there we have it. We've created a bulleted list. Now, we are going to do a link, which is very frequently used on websites, but before we do, I just wanted to talk a little bit about font. So if I highlight this paragraph, we get this menu bar come up again, which we've seen, and we can see the AA. This is our text or font settings. Now we can see here it is set to the default. That's what is highlighted. Now I could change that to Times New Roman. I could change it to Arial. I could change it to Verdana. I could change the size by using this sliding scale here. I could do those things, but I would recommend you don't, and I'm showing this to you to make that recommendation to you. Websites look professional when they have consistent font used across the different pages and across the different sections. If you start changing your font type or your font size or your font color, eventually your site's going to look a little bit of a mishmash. So please, I encourage you just to stay with the default font that your website developer has given you. If you want to change your font, I suggest you do it across the whole site. I'd like to demonstrate something else. I'm just going to cross out of this to get out of that. I'm just going to demonstrate now another font type. If I highlight the heading here, we see this comes up again, and I'm going to click on the font type again. Now again, it's default. So far nothing different. But if we look closely, H2, and that stands for heading 2, is highlighted in green. Now that wasn't highlighted before, so this is a heading 2, and there's a heading 1, a heading 2, a heading 3, a heading 4. The styles for your headings have also been preset, and I would encourage you to use the preset headings because again it looks more professional. And when we get to our SEO lesson, heading 1 and heading 2 also become a little bit important, so we might revisit them at that lesson. So I'm just going to click out of this. Remember, we saw that green heading 2, and just to remind you, just in case you don't believe me, which I'm sure you do, but let's just have a look at it. If I look here, there's no green heading 2, is there? So this text is just paragraph text, and it doesn't have the heading 2 coding. So you can see when it's highlighted in a color that will tell you that it's a heading. So that's just useful to know. I just wanted to share that with you, as it's useful to know how font works on a website. And now I want to put a link into this text. The particular link I want to do is on our more information and registrations here. I want to link this to the Eventbrite page. So I have this seminar up on Eventbrite, and if people wish to register for it, I would like them to buy their tickets on Eventbrite. So what we're going to do is highlight the text, as is so frequently what we need to do. Highlight that text, we get this grey floating text menu bar coming up, and the link icon is this one. It's this chain. So we need to click on the insert link, and now it's giving me a space to put in the URL or the web address of the web page that I wish this text to link to. Now, in preparation for this, I have got the Eventbrite website page up in a different tab in the browser, which we did last lesson, you might remember. And so I'm going to go up to the address bar. This is called the address bar, and I can see it starts with HTTPS. Now, I can click in there and drag my cursor across. That's one way of highlighting the address bar. or the web address to get this URL. Another way is to very quickly click 3 times on the mouse. That also does it. But the objective of this exercise is to get that URL or that web address in blue, because we know once it's highlighted in blue that we can then copy it. So that's what we're trying to achieve, is to get that highlighted in blue. So if you're getting a link, that's what you'll need to do. And then use Control-C on a PC or Command-C on a Mac to copy that URL or copy that web address to the computer's clipboard. So I'm going to Control-C on that. I know it's copied. I can't see where it's copied to, but I trust that it's copied. I come back to my page that I'm editing. The cursor is blinking in this little area here where it says URL. So I know if it's blinking just there, it's in the right position. I now Control-V, because Control-V is paste. And there we go. We can see that that has pasted that into the URL. Now, I don't want to click on this cross here because it actually won't save it. What I want to do at this point is press the return key on a Mac or the enter key on a PC. And I do that. And now I know it's worked because it's actually changed the font color to green. That's the design used on this particular website for links. The color goes green. On a lot of websites it goes blue. Some websites it won't change color at all, but mostly the convention is that links will look a little bit different on your website, as that gives your website visitor a hint that this in fact is a link. Okay, so what have we achieved? Well, what we have achieved is we have added some text. We added this text in, you'll remember, and all we did was put the cursor in and type away to add text. We bolded this text, you'll remember, by highlighting it and pressing the bold key. We did a bullet list. We first prepared our bullet list by defining what lines we had. We created a new line for each bullet list we wanted, and then we highlighted those lines and chose the bullet. And we had a bit of a look at the font area, where basically I said don't use it. And then we had a look at how to put a link in. And one final thing we must do before we leave this page and log out is save our work. And it's not really obvious where to save your work, is it now? But I'm about to tell you. It's this purple, very discreet little button at the bottom with 3 dots. Click on that, and when you do, you will see that it will open up a number of choices. And the choice that we want is the green save button here. And we get our little tick saying that has saved, and now either you can choose to log out if you have finished your work for the day, or hang around if you like, and I will show you how to do the same things but using our text settings, because there's a different area you can go to edit text in Divi, and you might prefer to do it that way rather than on this visual editor. Okay, let's click on the cogwheel, and here we see a totally new window opens up. This is opened up to essentially the coding. We can see H2, that is coding for heading 2. And it's opened up to the coding because this text tab is the active tab. And I don't want you as a beginner to go here, but I wanted to show it to you because if it does accidentally pop up or you do accidentally go to it, it's a very easy fix. All you do is go over to the left and click on the visual tab. And now that looks just a lot more user-friendly, doesn't it? And you can edit in this environment here. And you can also see you get a few more choices in this text editor settings. But you can, like we did before, if you want to highlight your text and you want to bold it or unbold it, you can do that. If you want to delete text, you can delete text, or you can add some more text here as well. So you can edit text. You can do your bullet points. If we go down here, again, you can highlight your bullet points. You can then say, I don't want them bulleted anymore. I do want them bulleted. So you get the gist, don't you? You can pretty much do in here what you did before. And this is the link icon that is going to work very similar to the other link icon. Now in here, if you don't want to save your changes, you would click on this red cross, but if you do want to save them, you click on this green button here, and maybe for good measure, you might want to click on that save as well. So now you know how to edit your text on your website. You've learned about the hierarchy of the blue, green and grey that Divi has, and as a beginner we want you to stay in that grey text area. That's where you're allowed to edit and you won't get into too much strife. You know how to bold and do a few other things with your editing of your text on your website. Good luck.